If we're live on my page.
All right.
Okay. We're live on my page right now. All right.
Is the one counting down for 23 minutes?
Yep, it's that right one. So we got it.
Uh-huh. I know what you're thinking. Is this the booth, drafting the circuits, three-way theater, or the Kevin Jackson show? Well, to tell you the truth, in all this excitement, I kinda lost track myself here on whobazoo.com. So, do you feel lucky, punk?
We back. We back.
The booth. I share my world when in the booth. The booth. This is all I do when in the booth. The booth. A set of headphones, one microphone. Hey yo, hold the phone, I'm in the booth. The booth. I share my world when in the booth. The booth. This is all I do when in the booth. The booth. I got one microphone, flow glitz in the zone. Yeah, I ain't to load me up, lock me in. I don't care, box me in, cause the booth got me in this brand new zone. Plug me in, turn it up, blitz gon' burn it up. Might start melting down the soundproof phone. It's one way, so it's one mode. Booth on the bus whenever I'm on the road. Lock in for days and anything goes. It's been 7 days, the same clothes. Still flowing for them dudes sitting outside on the blocks in the booth, but I'm spitting outside of the box. I know where the digits at, where the lyrics at. I ain't never losing, so I ain't gotta get it back. Got commercial music, but I still know how to spit a rap. I'm like the trees on my boots, I grew from the roots. If I'm lying, I'm flying, but I'm the truth. Only one way, my mobile or roam. I'm underground in the booth. The booth. I share my world when in the booth. The booth. This is all I do when in the booth. The booth. I got a set of headphones and one microphone. And yo, hold the phone, I'm in the booth. The booth. I share my world when in the booth. The booth. This is all I do when in the booth. The booth. I got one microphone. Yeah, I'm in the zone. Kel Spencer's in the booth.
Was he African?
African.
No. He was American, and he was like you.
All right, your boy says the one broadcasting live from the City of Champions. You are listening to The Booth. It is June 30th, 2020, and we are here tonight hanging out. I got my man Van Bates on the show with me tonight. Van, let him know you're here, man.
Yes,
All right.
I'm here.
We got
What
good
up?
sound. We got good stuff going out. As I said, it's June 30th. Jesus. July is already here. We've got people popping up in the chat. Hi, Elaine. How's it going, Michael? What's up, Nene? How's it going, Rosie Vasquez Brown? Rosie Vasquez Brown, Brockton police officer, does great things for the city of Brockton. A lot of donations put together at Christmas time. She did a lot of donations during the summer to help people out. So I got to give a big shout out to her. Viana Marie in the chat. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, as I was saying earlier. Let's see. I got to apologize for last week. My language, colorful language last week, but I had to really put it out there in regards to Donald Trump, our president, allowing a Confederate flag to be at the rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which to me allowed me to realize that he doesn't really care about us, because he would have stopped that rally and had that man escorted out, but he didn't. And then this week, the accusations of him being a racist continued, and I'm going to talk about that in Trump Troubles. But right now, I want to get into my guest, Van Bates, Black Hesher. He's getting ready to release these limited edition collection action figures. Van, how did this get going? This is a great thing. I can't wait to get my little figurines to put up on.
Well, there's some other stuff going on that I can't super talk about right now, but
Okay.
part of it was I needed a mock-up to show a company because I'm working on a cartoon and getting like all this merchandise into some like bigger stores and stuff. So we're trying to take it away from just like the music and make it its own thing. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get like some TV money. So I needed something to go along with my presentation. And then we got like 50 of them. And I didn't realize so many people would be into it. You know, I was trying to sell it as something else, but it's actually good because it helped fuel what I'm going into for like the next half of my life, you know, kind of adapting. I just made probably what is pretty much my last album, Saints and Sirens, up during the quarantine. And it just, the combined buzz of it all just kind of worked and pushed towards this. And then getting like the TV show, it's all kind of mixed together. Mm-hmm. So, we have them, and I'm actually holding up a week before dropping them because yesterday I got a call from the San Diego Music Awards, which is next Monday, to do a charity auction, which is pretty rad because like the only other two people are like Jason Mraz and Switchfoot, you know what I mean? So like these already famous band and already famous person. So I got to like put one of the skateboards and one of the figures that's like the first anybody's actually going to have them outside of me. You know what I mean? And then from there, kind of drop them. And pretty much all the ones that I have are being made because they're literally handmade one by one, you know? Mm-hmm. So they're pretty much like all sold out for this whole entire run, you know, until like the end of the summer. And then hopefully this bigger company is going to pick it up and then boom, you know, I'm an action figure. You know, and I know you grew up in comics and stuff like that. So it's like the ultimate coolest thing. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? It's almost surreal because it's trying to separate myself from Black Hesher, which has become its own kind of character in a way, you know?
Right.
So how do I separate that? And like with the newest record, like was more about getting back to kind of just rhyming and having fun, not so much songs about my personal life. I mean, it's still woven in there, you know, and creating this thing where it could be like its own Adult Swim show, which is what I'm pushing for after what I'm doing right now with this first show, you know? So it's just step by step. Like, how do I, you know, move forward? You know, I don't want to be like 60 rapping, you know, this stuff like this can go on forever, you know, and become kind of its own thing. And that's kind of what is happening here, you know?
Nice.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes a ton of sense. I'm pretty psyched about it too. One of the things that you've also, like you said, you're trying to separate from the music and going into the broadcasting part of it and doing this show. Can you talk a little bit more about the show? Or is that it?
Yeah. No, I mean, well, I can talk about the first show that I'm doing, which is This Is a Show, which is kind of like a sketch comedy talk music show, like a little bit of everything that I love, kind of like when I make a record, you know, it's like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And that came out of, you know, it's something I've always wanted to do, but more out of the fact that all of a sudden we can't play shows, you know, and things. I was coming out of this year into having a better year. Like I went through some personal troubles last year, and I just doubled down on just being creative and banging out all these goals. And so, you know, I set up a really rad tour that was going to be this summer and stuff. And like everything just kind of fell through. because we can't do that now because of everything that's going on. You know, all of a sudden, like, everything that we know is changing, and we're watching history from all angles, and nothing is really going to be like it was our first half of our lives. You know what I mean? So it's like, how do I adapt? How do I keep, you know, moving forward? And then this opportunity for the show came up, and I just rolled with it, you know. And then that, you know, the guy who runs and operates the USW channel just opened up the doors to doing the animation thing, and just introducing me to all the right people. And I just had something to be like, yo, this is a tangible thing. You know what I mean? So even if somebody didn't get, like, musically what I could do, they could look at this figure or look at the merch and stuff or the logo and be like, oh, yeah, we could sell this. We could put this on something. And looking at it from a business sense, then more about, you know, what I'm rhyming. I mean, it's important that the music is dope too, but I've built it up enough. You know, I put out 4 records since last October. You know what I mean? And that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot, and it's a tough. You know, it's a good thing you actually kind of got that music out prior, because there's a lot of people that didn't get projects out, and you know what? Now they're stuck. They can't promote. I know Vianna Marie. She's been doing stuff online. She did a concert this past weekend, where she, you know, they put the Cash App out there. She was able to receive some donations, and we want to thank everybody who made those donations towards her for Vero G online concert. But this COVID has really changed the industry right now. It's you know, and you gotta work in the studio. You know, now a lot of people are shifting to home studios, and you were already doing stuff like that. You were already doing studio work at home. But you used to push that on a lot of people, and a lot of people like you and Vianna who used to tell people this, you know, now it's like, now you're kind of forced into this lifestyle of producing.
Well, here's the deal, and this is the upside of it all. When things eventually will open back up, this is the first time in the history of me doing music or any independent artist. I don't care if you just put your first song on SoundCloud out to like where I'm at with it. This is the first time ever, and it's never going to be again, that when everything opens up, there's going to be a huge gap that never was before. And it's going to be like the wild, wild west, whether you're in making movies, whether you're an actor, whether you're a musician or a singer, that everybody's going to be able to jump up a level, because what am I trying to say? Because like there's going to be there's like a big hole. So say all these major tours and major artists are, you know, kind of baby bands on like mini to major labels. They had to reschedule their whole years. Do you know what I mean? So when all these other places have to start open back up, like mid size venues to like theater size and stuff, they're not going to have that big name band to fill it, to pay their people, to keep their lights on, to keep their going. And that's when everybody's going to be able to level up and get into places you wouldn't expect you to be able to play, along with like 5 other bands, and people are going to come out and see it because they can't wait to go out. So we're all going to get extra fans that we never had before, just based off them wanting to get the hell out of the house. And then you got to grab onto that and make sure they keep coming back. You know what I mean? Out here, we've played like every major venue and got banned from a few of them. But like the bigger theaters I will be able to get into next, just based on me and a bunch of other acts that were available to play. You know what I mean? Where like, you know, somebody famous that was supposed to be here in October is not going to be here until sometime 2021. You know what I mean? And like all these people that has affected, and especially in California, because you really have the industry where there is the people that are affected that are in like the audiovisual union. You know what I mean? And all that stuff, the music industry is heavy out here like that. So there's people that like regular people, like when you go to a concert, you know, think about that person doing the lighting, you know what I mean? That are fucked right now. So like all these people need to get back to work, and sure, like they'll have to open to a smaller capacity due to social distance or whatever, but that's the opportunity to step up and be on these stages that might not have been open before because it was already an ongoing machine. You know what I mean? And now everything has been disrupted and changed, and these places are gonna, do you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like I'm kind of jumping around, but like there's there's a huge gap. So like where you might like be play like the Middle East out there, the next level venue. It's not even. It's safe to say that like even like bigger places, 5 to 10 acts can throw a show there and maybe not have a lot of streams online, have not sold a lot of records, but after that day they will. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be nobody there to make the money so these people can pay and keep the lights on or close forever. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
Which brings it back to like kind of like the beginning of the whole industry. So there's like that little gap, and that's how, you know, especially like with content, with you putting out, you know, the booth and whatever else you put out, like all these independent things are surging because shows have stopped production. You know, major movies like Marvel movies have stopped production. You know what I mean? So if me and you had the money right now, we were shooting our movie on our own, you know, it'd be so much easier to get it on VOD because content, I mean, sure, there's enough content forever, you know, with older stuff, but as far as what's being new from this point on, everything is ground to a halt, especially out here. So it's like being ready for that, just being ready. All right, I can go. Yeah, I can be there. I'll be there, you know, and people are going to come and everybody's going to gain new fans, especially live, based off, like I said, everybody just wanting to get the fuck out of their house, right. You know? So it's like, who's going to be ready for it? I mean, I know I'm ready. I'm like fucking dude on the horse of the fucking Planet of the Apes when he rolls up on the people. Like, I'm already there. I'm ready to go and take over and hopefully kick open doors for all my friends as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because there's enough success for everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody that we know that we've played shows with back east or out here, there's room for everybody and become the whole brand new god. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep. Gain a whole new group of fans. So before we let you go, man, tell them how they can get in touch with you, how they can follow you, all your social media.
You can catch me on MySpace, over on farmersonly.com. I have been banned from christianmingle.com. I'm on AOL chat. You can catch me at Kinko's doing flyers. Facebook, man. Black Hesher, Twitter, Black Hesher, Instagram. I just realized I'm starting to have a accent. That's weird. All right, Instagram, Black Hesh Cult, Spotify, Black Hesher, all that stuff. I'll drop some links in the chat.
Yes, please.
Yeah, you can find me anywhere. Just Google me, man. You'll find all types of good shit and bad shit. But yeah, cool. Fuck yeah. Thanks for having me on. And within a week, I'll be posting the links to order the figures. So I'll post them everywhere. I'll tag you in it so your people see them and fans of the booth. And yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my boy Dante and my boy Rupert, and I'm out.
All right, cool, man. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
All right, brother.
All right,
thank you.
Peace out, man. All right. That was Van Bates hanging out with us. Good guy. Wishing him all types of luck. And again, I got to thank everybody who's out there in the chat watching the show with us right now. Viana Marie's out here. Rosie Vasquez Brown was out here. And gotta move along with the show. Gonna head into the news booth. Two men hysterically trolled Trump supporters this past weekend. Almost like, I don't know if y'all remember Barat, the actor, the guy. I forget his real name. I know him only more. Sasha Cohen, I think his name is. He plays this character Barat, and he goes out and he trolls these people and made a couple of movies off it. There's a couple of guys here in Boston, a couple of YouTubers. I think one of their names is Mike Picard. They went down and they trolled some Trump supporters in Weymouth. Now, the funny thing is, I thought it was just one kid, this one kid, and I was watching the video, and while this video was going on, there was a second guy there in overalls, and he was saying all this hillbilly stuff. And then, like, 5 or 10 minutes into the video, I realized that this second plant, this other guy that's in this video, is the second troll to troll these people. So he was like getting the people kind of fired up and stuff, and he had a sign that said "All Lives Matter," and he was getting these people all fired up to come at his friend, the other troll. So I shared it. It's on our Facebook page on the booth. Check it out. It's hilarious. And people, hey, when I say hilarious, HELLARI, I do that purposely. So please don't hit me up or private message me and be like, yo, it's this. You gotta check your spell check. I know how to spell hilarious. But if something is very funny, it becomes hilarious. In other words, funny as hell. Get it? So when you see me spell hilarious with HELL in all caps, that means it's super funny to me. It's hilarious. So please, everyone who's in my inbox or on my replies, tell me this is how to spell hilarious. I know how to spell hilarious, people. It's a joke. It's an extension of how funny something is. All right. So I just want to let people know that, because a lot of people will come at me and say this stuff, and it's funny. In Washington, Joe Biden is under fire for comments he made in 1977, where he said, "I don't want my kids growing up in a racial jungle," in regards to desegregation. Now, back in the 70s, desegregation was a big deal, and to be honest, there was a majority of white people, a major majority of white people. I'd say almost 80%. Even though people up north were against slavery and stuff, there were still those people that didn't want black kids and white kids mixed in the school system. So he made these comments in 77. A lot of people are bringing these comments up because of the issues with Trump last week and the issues with Trump this week with sharing a white power tweet that he quickly had to delete. But a lot of people are bringing this up, and for me it's like, okay, first of all, if you're out here and you're trying to go real hard and bring up these comments from Biden from 1977, 40 plus years ago, look, for me, you're trying too hard. People can change. I don't know if Biden's changed or not, but people can change, and I've seen it in people. So to post something, to go in against something that's happened in the now, like having someone with a Confederate flag at your rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that's in the now. You're representing me in the now. And for me, I get it. I understand where Biden was coming from, because there were a lot of white people that didn't want black kids in their neighborhood. Because I was one of the kids that was bused in the 70s. I lived in Mission Hill, Roxbury, and I was one of those kids that was put into the program because my grades were good, except I wasn't bused to South Boston. No, and everybody talks about that. Everybody talks about how us kids that were bused to South Boston, how ugly it was, and how racial nastiness was by sending those kids from Roxbury to Boston. I'm not knocking or downplaying what happened with the busing situation in Southie. I just want to let people know that I was bused to Brighton, Massachusetts. I was in Roxbury. I didn't get bused to South Boston. I got bused to Brighton, Massachusetts. So for those who need some type of explanation, when you go from Roxbury to South Boston, it was the same class of people. You know what I'm saying? Same middle class, blue collar working people, blue collar kids of blue collar working people. We were here. I ended up going to Brighton. And at that time in the 70s, Brighton was the suburbs of Boston. The echelon of whiteness was Brighton. Chestnut Hill, all that area up there where BC and all that stuff is, that was the supreme whiteness of Boston suburbs, Brighton. And I was bused to Brighton schools, the Alexander Hamilton School, and the Edison School. And the problem with that is that, and you might say, well, what's the difference? Well, here's the difference. It wasn't just a middle class. Now I'm a low class black kid from the projects coming to Brighton suburbs to get my teaching, my learning, and it was a lot worse. And we had National Guard, we had state police, we had everybody bringing us to school. And I remember it was one school bus, and there was only 8 black kids on that entire bus, and they didn't pick up any of the white kids. That bus picked us up in Mission Hill and took us right to Brighton. That didn't stop anywhere. The cops met us like just outside of Brighton to bring us. And when we came into the school area where the school was, our bus was met with bricks and rocks and human feces, spit. People had taken vomit or whatever, and they would throw it on the bus. When we got off the bus, the state police had to shield us because people were throwing rocks and bottles and walk us into the school. Then we would go into school, and it'd be a normal day. It'd be a normal school day. You'd meet white kids. You'd become friends with white kids who didn't know anything about color. You'd go this whole day during school. School would end, and then the whole craziness would happen again as you're coming out to school and get ready to head to the bus. You have white kids come up to you and telling you, bye, see you tomorrow, Keith. And a parent would come over and grab them and be like, stay away, don't talk to that nigger. Or monkey, go home. Or don't talk to my child, I gotta go home and watch my child. Yeah, that was the type of stuff that was said. And I remember my first day is I didn't want to go back to school. And I remember my father said, don't ever let no one take away your education. And I stayed in school in Brighton and finished at both schools in Brighton. And to be honest, I was like one of 3 kids who stayed there, because a lot of the kids, they ended up going back home to the hood and went to school there. So as far as those comments go, like I said, there's a lot of people who weren't happy with the segregation, and it's, they were bad comments then, but again, he might have changed. I think and take my politics about the now, what is going on now, today. Got to give big props to my, I'm going to bring it up here, picture here, let me just mute this down, Celeste Watkins Hayes, that's my cousin Reggie's wife. Big props to her. She has been named the Collegiate Professor of Public Policy and Professor of Sociology, University of Michigan. A black woman, strong black woman, leading up this position at the University of Michigan. And she also just wrote a book called Remaking Life, How Women with HIV and AIDS Confront Inequality. So big ups to her, and I wish her much success. I believe I might have a video to show you guys. Yes, I do have a video to show you guys coming up here. This video coming up here is out of Georgia, Valdosta. Valdosta PD broke the wrist of this man during a wrongful arrest. Antonio Smith is suing for $700,000 in damages. Let me just get this video on, and then we're going to get into this, because it's going to go into my other topic of misconception. So here's the video first.
I was waiting for my sister to Western Union me some money. I always go there and get Western Union, and they know me.
Hey, you got your ID on you?
Yes, I got my ID. What are you guys doing?
We're out here investigating suspicious activity,
Well,
sir.
I'm not doing anything. I've been around cameras, so I ain't been doing nothing.
All right. So what were you doing over there at the
Walking
Walgreens?
around waiting for Western Union. Call my sister right now. She's in Florida. You have a cell phone, call her. Don't
Call
me
who?
like this. Call my sister in Florida. Don't do this. What are you doing? Oh my God! What are you doing?
Put your hands behind your back like you told. Put your
What
hands.
are you doing? Oh, Jesus. Oh my God. Oh, please. My God, you broke my wrist. Oh my God!
Stop.
Oh my God!
Yeah, he might be broke. That's him? No, that's the other guy. The other guy is over there. They pointed out two different people. Okay. They got the guy with a warrant. This guy, I had just got contact with him. I thought this was one with a warrant. No, that's why I was trying to. No, because it's two different people. That's why I was trying to figure out if I had missed something. He told him to put his hands behind his back.
All right, your boy Sinister One broadcasting live from the City of Champions, and hopefully my mic issue is a little bit louder. I was trying to keep the mic out of the shot because I felt like you see everybody with the mic in the shot, and I felt like I don't really need the mic in the shot, so I had my mic up high, and now I hear a lot of people saying that we can barely hear you, we want to hear you, so I brought my mic down. I apologize for having my mic in the shot now, but I guess if you guys want to hear me, I'm gonna have to have my mic down low. And yeah, thank you, Jeannie Silva, thank you, Viana Marie, and Carrie Lynn Blake. Thank you. Miss Silver. I would love to have you come on this show because you have a great story to tell. And the fact that we're friends on Facebook, I love it. It's great stuff. And, you know, you're involved with pets and things like that and very outspoken. So whenever, you are always welcome to come on and promote whatever and go from there. So moving on from this story, because this is about misconception. And what happened was that a lot of people were sharing this story, and a lot of people were talking about, oh, here we go again, this and that and this and that. But there's a lot of things, if you weren't paying attention to the story, you would realize that the arresting officer in this story was a black man who messed up big time he messed up. Now, the white officer who did grab Mr. Smith and body slammed him to the ground, breaking his wrist, was completely in the wrong, because the black officer had the wrong guy, and he was in the process of running the ID and checking his ID. It had already came back that his ID, you know, that this wasn't the guy, but the black officer didn't step up in time before what took place happened. And the sad part is you listen to that whole thing and you hear the black officer know that this is, oh man, this is bad. And then one of the white officers, you could see by his face, the wrist is broken, but you could see when he hears that they have the wrong guy, he was like, oh man, he was already counting the suspension days, because this guy snatched this guy up and body slammed him to the ground. He had no idea what was going on. And it looks like that he's going to win his lawsuit, and he's going to get $700,000. He's probably going to get a lot more in his pockets because of what happened. But the reason why I'm sharing this and bringing this to attention is because it's all about media right now. We're going crazy with all these stories, all these crazy stories, and people are sharing a lot of things, and people are misconstruing the truth to a lot of stories. They're trying to help the cause, but they're not helping the cause. Like I said, this was a black officer who messed up. And again, to be honest, this is a part of Black Lives Matter, because when you talk and listen to the people that are at the top of Black Lives Matter, they will tell you it's not just about the white officers and the injustice against black people. It's the crooked officers. If you saw the movie Boys in the Hood, there was a great scene in Boys in the Hood where they get pulled over, and the black cop harasses the guys worse than the white officer. And we've seen this. You've had, this is real talk. This happens in the hood. And I'm not taking anything away from Black Lives Matter, but I'm just saying is that we need to clean the entire police force system up. When you go back to Eric Garner and some of these other guys, there were minority officers involved in these situations. So again, not only is this an issue with racist cops, we also have this issue of dirty cops. And we need to clean that up also. Because part of this misconception is that people share things and misconceive a lot. For example, I have a person who shared a story in regards to a Chicago police officer shooting an unarmed white man. Now, let me get this picture up here for you guys of what they shared here. Let's see here. Let me cancel out the slideshow and bring this up for you guys. Transition over. Ooh, boom, I did it. So look at this video right here. So somebody shared this story, and they put up this whole thing about all lives matter, where's BLM, blah, 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 all this stuff. But here's the thing. Here is the thing. Look at the story, people, where the story came from, where the video came from. Now, if you are smart and you realize this, you would realize that this story is coming from The Source magazine, a magazine which is a black publication, co-owned by a black person. It's the biggest hip-hop magazine out there that is sharing this story to show this incident where the black cop shoots an unarmed white man. So when you're out here trying to share this as your all lives matter and this and that, and look what happens, you negated the argument you make. And to be honest, you make yourself look racist because you're not even checking your source. As here, The Source. And the person that shared it, I actually called them out and pointed it out to them. And then they went and they actually deleted their initial comments on the post and just left it alone. But they realized that they messed up because you shared a thing from a black publication. You tried to make this story something that it wasn't. Van Bates is in the chat. What's going on, man? So again, misconception. Here's another one for you guys. I'm going to give you guys another scene of misconception here. I'm going to bring this one up here. Shut this one down. Bring this one up and transition to this. Boom. Oh my God, I'm getting this good, boy. So here's a picture here. And I have somebody else shared this picture. And they're like, Black Lives Matter attacking a white man, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, look, I know how it looks. It looks bad. But even my son, my 21-year-old son, realized what was going on in this picture. There was more than meets the eye in this picture. And if my 21-year-old son can see this, why can't a lot of other people see this? If you look at this man's shirt, now let me see if I can point correctly. If you look at this man's shirt right here, in the green, underneath, you see M-A, and I would be safe to assume that shirt had something to say against Black Lives Matters. I'm probably 99% sure that shirt had something to say against Black Lives Matter. And I'm pretty sure this gentleman may have opened his mouth and said some things that he shouldn't have said. Now, who knows? Who knows? But what I'm saying is this is misconception. People, like I said, my son realized it. He said, look at the shirt. What's the shirt say? That's what we want to know. Because the shirt may tell the whole story of this picture. So again, misconception. People, you got to be careful when you're sharing these things and reading these stories in the press. And we got to think about that stuff. Moving on to the next story here. Iran issues an arrest warrant for Trump for killing their top commander, General Salami. Look, I talked about this on the show. People were like, he's a bad man. He had to go. Look, I get it. I know he was a bad man. I know that we have to try to do what we have to do. But at the end of the day, he was a general. He was a general in the Iranian military, We just can't go around drone striking generals without getting clearance, without getting, and I hate to say this, but this is where a guy like Joe Biden comes in above Donald Trump when you talk about this diplomacy and handling worldwide tensions. Because this little situation that happened here, when this drone strike happened, it almost sent us into war. But the problem is that a lot of people at that point in time, they got it. Donald Trump is poor at this political game worldwide. So a lot of people have realized this. And I know there was a lot behind the scenes. Like I said, there's a reason why a lot of the military is speaking out against Donald Trump right now. There's a reason why a big majority of the military is speaking out against him, because he has put this country into a bad place. So for those who don't understand this and say he's a bad man, and you don't get it, you just can't issue a drone strike against the general of a country. So case in point, let's say we got General Wiley, who was with Trump when he went to Lafayette Place. So say like Wiley is at Logan Airport. He's flying out of Logan Airport. And say the Iranians did a drone strike and killed General Wiley at Logan Airport, outside of Logan Airport. Guess what's going to happen? It's an act of war. It's an act of war. And we're going to war. Simple as that. And we could have really went to war with Iran over this. But we didn't. Because the United States did have information that he was about to carry out an attack against the U.S. So now Iran has issued this arrest warrant, and it goes into the hands of Interpol. Do we think that we're going to see our president arrested for this? I don't think so. And my question is this the first time we've ever had an arrest warrant issued for one of our presidents? I would think maybe Bush had one against him for the Afghan war. I would say maybe Obama had one issued against him for Bin Laden. I don't know. I'd have to check. I don't know. I just know this is the first time I've heard of this with President Donald Trump. Frank Spangle, what's going on? Kevin Tachi in the chat, what's going on? Shannon Roscoe, what's going on? And moving on, Hollywood Entertainment. We got some bad news here. Sitcom creator, director Carl Reiner passed away, 98 years of age. Guy lived a long life, real long life. I grew up being a fan of Carl Reiner's stuff early on. My dad made us watch All in the Family. My mom was a big fan of the Dick Van Dyke Show, which we watched over and over again. One of my favorite episodes of Dick Van Dyke was when he got the German Shepherd dog, and the dog only knew German, so Dick Van Dyke had to learn German to speak to the dog. Oh, that was one of the most funniest episodes of Dick Van Dyke that I ever watched. Also responsible for a ton of movies, too. For those who remember the Steve Martin movie, The Jerk, Carl Reiner did that movie. But like I said, what Carl Reiner was really known for was the cutting-edge show, All in the Family. It pushed the envelope. It mocked racism. It mocked bigotry with Carol O'Connor's character, Archie Bunker. And it was amazing. It was so far ahead of its time. For those who don't know this, All in the Family actually holds the record for the most spin-off shows. Carl Reiner spun that show off with the most. I want to say like 11 spin-offs came out of All in the Family, because you had Maude came out of that show. Good Times came out of that show. The Jeffersons came out of the show, because if you forget, the Jeffersons were actually the sole black family on Archie Bunker Street. They actually hated each other and then got together when a Puerto Rican moved on the street. And then George Jefferson, who owned the dry cleaners, moved on up. And that's how they spun off to the Jeffersons and had their show. Because remember, Lionel, the Jefferson son Lionel, and Mike, who was married to Gloria, Archie Bunker's daughter, they were kind of like best friends. And Archie didn't like the fact that Mike, who was Jewish, had this black guy as a best friend. And that's how they kind of brought the Jeffersons in. And Wheezy was friends with Edith. And then they spun that off to Maude. They spun that off to Good Times. And it just kept going on. They had Archie's Place, and then they had, I think it was the address of the actual street was a spin-off show. It was great. So rest in peace to Kyle Reiner. Steve Morantz, what's going on? Paul Forrest, what's going on? Not till after the election, Paul Forrest is saying. I'm wondering if he's talking about the Iranian arrest warrant. I don't, to be honest, Paul, I don't see anything happening with this. I just think Interpol will take it. I don't think we're going to see President Trump arrested over this. I don't see it at all because they did have evidence that he was going to carry out an attack. And I think that's what they'll use as far as their reasoning. Out of Plymouth. Oh, okay. Yep, you are. Out of Plymouth, Matt Keene is a guy. He's homeless, living in the woods, and he's filming a vlog called Less Than a Home. If you go on YouTube, search Matt Keene, Less Than a Home. This kid is putting up blogs like every other week or so, once a month or so. He's homeless. I've actually had some conversations with him over the last 6 months. We talked about things. I'm not sure if he really wants me to give the location of where his tent and where he is, but I will try to reach out to him, maybe get him on the show. It's a very interesting story, and I'd like to get him on. In the sports booth. Oh man, let me hold off on this one first. Let me get into New York. New York, NASCAR and the FBI confirmed and released a photo of the noose that was found in Bubba Wallace's garage, but they ruled it wasn't a hate crime. And evidence proved, because it had been there since 2019, that noose was not meant to be for Bubba Wallace. Yes, somebody was making a statement. Someone was making a statement by having that noose there because they checked all 29 garages, and out of all those garages, only one pull-down rope, had a noose attached to it. And a lot of people were going back and forth over it, and it was like, it's a noose. It was a noose with a slip knot. And nobody's pulling down any garage doors with that noose because they're going to crush their hand when that slip knot comes down and crushes their fingers. The reason why I know so much about it, and it's funny, is because unfortunately, where I worked years ago, we had that same incident in the garage where a couple of us came on through affirmative action. We were considered outsiders, and what somebody did was they went around the garage and they tied a couple of the pull-down ropes into nooses, and it was a big issue. And the person who did it and was found out and had admitted it, they were suspended. They were disciplined. So that story brought shades back to me. It came back into my emotions because it happened to me. And anybody who can tell you, working in a garage as a mechanic in those days, back in those days, that was the type of shit that was done. This isn't something new. A noose in the NASCAR garage is nothing new. And some people will say, well, how's it a federal crime? It's a federal crime. Putting a noose in the area where a black person works is a federal crime. It's a federal offense. It's a violation. It's not right. Why? Because back in the days when the KKK used to terrorize black people and come into the black towns, and they were leaving someone a message, one of the things they did, if they didn't burn a cross on your lawn, they left a noose on your doorstep to let you know, stay in your lane. And if you didn't stay in your lane, guess what? They snatched you up, they put a bag over your head, and then you got lynched. You know what I'm saying? So NASCAR did the right thing. A lot of people all of a sudden, and that was the other thing too, a lot of people were out there bashing Bubba Wallace and calling Bubba Wallace Juicy Smollett. No, he wasn't Juicy Smollett. He never even saw the news. Didn't even know about the news. Somebody else reported it and turned it in. You know why? Because when you're a NASCAR official and you see that in the workplace, legally you have a duty to act by law. A duty to act. You have to report this. Why? Because if Bubba Wallace had saw that in his garage, guess what? Guess what? Bubba Wallace can sue NASCAR. Bubba Wallace can sue whoever he wants. And if somebody had saw that and didn't report it, and Bubba sues civilly and federally, guess what? That person who saw it and didn't say nothing, they can be sued on the civil level. Trust me, I went to too many HR friggin' classes to be certified in this stuff. It's not nothing to mess with people. Nothing to mess with. So for people to say NASCAR overreacted and bashing NASCAR didn't overreact. NASCAR did the right thing. NASCAR was at a place where if they didn't report it, they were going to get destroyed. because they're trying to change that culture. So they reported it. They did the right thing, and I'm glad that it's the whole thing quelled down. So like I said, some people are still saying Juicy Smollett is the story, but again, keep it moving. Keep it moving. Here in Foxborough, quarterback Tom Brady. Man, we can't seem to get rid of this guy. Tom Brady, you left us. You went to Tampa Bay. Look. Tom Brady here. This is Julian Edelman's Instagram. Now they're like they've got like a bromance. We've known this here in New England. Tom Brady, Julian Edelman have a bromance. Now this right here, a lot of women who are watching this show right now probably can relate to this shit right here. A lot of women probably can relate to this shit right here. So think about this. Tom Brady is the boyfriend who left. He said, "You know what? I don't want to be with you no more. I'm going away. I'm leaving. I'm finding another girl. We're done." So Tom Brady leaves. 3 weeks later, Julian Edelman is now going to be hooking up with Cam Newton, because now the Patriots have signed Cam Newton. So not even 24 hours after Cam Newton signs with the Patriots for 1 year, Tom Brady jumps in Julian Edelman's Instagram and puts, "I will always be your number one," with a little smile emoji. See that shit right there? I gotta see the chat. How many women have had men leave them, and then when they get somebody that might do better or make them happier, that man is already in your chat leaving subliminals. Because that's what Tom Brady looks like right now. Tom Brady looks like the boyfriend who walked out, thought he was going to find it better, and then starts catching some feelings when somebody else is getting ready to try to move on in. Cam Newton's trying. And I look, unfortunately, we are mad PC right now. We are under this PC blanket, but I can make one hell of a funny-ass joke right now. Like one hell of a funny-ass joke right now concerning Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, and Cam Newton. But I'm gonna keep it quiet because I want to keep my show. Because I don't want nobody to say that shit was racist. Why are you saying this? And be pulling out the apology podium next week. So I definitely can't say what I want to say. I'm gonna keep it to myself. Moving on. As I said, Cam Newton is now a Patriot here in New England. So what I want to do is I'm going to get this video on for you guys real quick from Cam Newton. It's about 5 minutes, but it's a pretty good video. Let's get this video on. This is Cam Newton saying goodbye to Carolina. Hello, New England. Here we go.
That's why I call my thing the marathon, because I'm That's why I call my thing the marathon, because I'm not gonna lie and portray this ultimate poise like I've had it figured out. Nah, I just didn't quit. That's the only distinguishing quality from me and probably whoever else going through this or went through this or is gonna go through this, is that I ain't quit.
So today is March 17th, 2012. Been on here for 60 minutes. Since the time I got on here to the time I'm about to finish, my phone ain't stopped. But I say this because I want to do a service to my fans. I want to do a service to everybody who's following me. They're following this situation. Like right now, like I'm angry. I'm just feel let down, but at the same time, I'm not bitter. You know what I mean? And I know since the first day I came into this league that this day was gonna come. I've been with the organization, a great organization, for as long as I've been in the NFL, and I'm sad for this day to come. But at the end of the day, in the famous words of Nipsey, the marathon continues. Real talk. I'm blessed, I'm honored, and you know, I have no idea what's the next steps. But one thing about it, and with God's grace, I know that there will be a next step. So I just wanted to make this video, let you guys know, don't believe the hype. You know what I'm saying? I never once, and I say this right now, I never once wanted to leave Carolina. Don't let them believe. Don't let them make you believe anything else. It was their decision. I stuck with it, and I knew that, so I asked for a trade. Everything else, let's be it. But yet, like I said, I'm not bitter. I don't have any hatred. I just understand that this is a business first. I appreciate Matt Rule, David Tepper, Marty Hernan, feel me? Everybody who is, affiliated with the Carolina Panthers organization. And you can trust and know that I'm not gonna be that silent person, bro. It's all love, man. It's always been love. It's always gonna be love. Appreciate it. One love, man.
With the first pick in the 2011 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Cam Newton, quarterback, Auburn.
And the 2015 AP Most Valuable Player is Cam Newton.
We are here for Cam Jam. It's Cam's Thanksgiving Jam, feeding 1,300 kids from the YMCAs all across the greater Charlotte area.
And Cam came in tonight and he just reminded folks that they matter and that their lives matter. And he brought joy, and it was amazing.
Giving back to the community, to take care of the people in your community. Cam has just been really the poster child down here. He has set the bar extremely high, and we aspire to get to that bar with him.
You ain't got to do nothing special.
Yo, come on, Mac. Cam. I like that. I like that all day.
I just appreciate so many of the fans, man, for showing love and support.
You could have been somebody. We could have been somebody. It came out of our body. It came out of our body. Before they call lawyers, before you tried to destroy us, how you gon' lie to the lawyer? It's like I don't even know ya. I gotta bring it back to the know ya.
Ooh, what a feeling. There's so much on my mind right now. But I'm gonna keep this shit brief. I'm at your neck.
All right, man. I don't know about you guys, but that fired me up. That got me, because I was a little upset. when that announcement, when that notification came across and told me that Cam Newton had just signed a 1-year deal with the Patriots. I was actually kind of upset. I was kind of angry, and I was hurt. Like, because right now. I've been on the Trevor Lawrence bandwagon, so I'm hoping that the Patriots defensively do bad and finish real low next year so they can get Trevor Lawrence. That's where I'm at right now. But they brought in Cam Newton, and when it first happened, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little upset. The man hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in 2 years. He really hasn't done much. When he's healthy, he's a threat, yeah, but he hasn't done much. So that's the reason why he got a 1-year deal, $7.5 million, loaded with incentives. But as my emotions settled down and I started to spend this weekend birthday, big ups to my son Tyreek, 24 years old, happy birthday this past weekend. As we started to sit down and talk about Cam Newton coming to the Patriots, I thought about it and I said, man, all of a sudden, if you are a defensive coordinator for the AFC East, you're pissed right now. You are so pissed. There were two people. Well, actually, there was one person here that was probably happy as hell, and that would be Josh McDaniels, because Josh McDaniels, has been putting his playbook together for Tom Brady for years, and we all know that Josh McDaniels has wanted to take the cuffs off on that book. But Tom Brady is a pocket guy. He's a slow guy. He beats people with precision, his arm, and mentality of the game. Now he's got a guy like Cam Newton, who, if he does beat out Stidham in camp, he's going to bring a whole different dimension to this Patriots offense that we've never seen before here, ever. And as I said, the AFC East defensive coordinators and head coaches were probably pissed when they got this news. Why? Because for the last 3, 4, 5, for this last decade, every AFC East team has drafted defensively and have brought their coaching in and brought their personnel in to beat Tom Brady to get to that divisional championship game and keep the Patriots out of the playoffs. Every AFC East team has done that. They've all drafted their 1-2 men deep to beat Tom Brady, and now we're heading into an NFL season where the Patriots are going to have Cam Newton at the helm. He's dangerous in short yardage. He's dangerous if he can get to the outside, and a lot of these defenses in the AFC East are not set up for Cam Newton. So right now the Patriots have just taken themselves from being that questionable team in the AFC East and maybe having to dogfight their way to the top. They're now, I'm pretty sure when the Vegas numbers come out and if this season takes off, I'm pretty sure the Patriots might just be picked to take this AFC East in Vegas. I'm just saying, because the AFC East defensively is not ready for it. Plus, this season is a major toss-up in the NFL because it's on the honor system. We've had no camps in April. We've had no camps in May. We've had no mandatory camps. Guys are going to, look, other than your Edelmans and your guys who are religiously working out like Brady and all these guys, look, I'm going to, and I hate to put the NFL out there, I'm going to say 80% of the guys in the NFL that are players, which is a majority of you guys are linemen, offensive and defensive linemen. I'm pretty sure teams are going to have to throw away the fines, and guys are going to be showing up to camp either overweight, out of shape, they've been home, COVID-19, and they've had to work out using the honor system. I think, and this is my opinion on the NFL, this upcoming season of the NFL, I think we're going to see the highest amount of sacks that we've ever seen this year. I think line play is going to be absolutely horrible. I think we're going to see a running game that we've never seen before, because I think a lot of linemen on that opposite side, they're going to be out of shape. I think the running game and sacks are going to be amazing this year. And we'll see. We'll see. As you can see in my pictures up here, as we're moving out of sports and going into Trump troubles, there's really not much in Trump troubles that I've already mentioned. But I got to mention this because Trump had tweeted about these two gun-toting couple, the McCloskeys from St. Louis, as you see here in this picture here, from St. Louis. What happened was that the protesters, BLM protesters, actually were in the wrong in this situation. These two here, they are personal injury lawyers, attorneys. In other words, they make a lot of money, and they live in a mansion, big-ass mansion. Their mansion is located on a street, and their street is a private way. Now, the protesters, people were saying they cut the gates. They didn't. There was a video out there. The gates weren't cut down. The gate was already open. They didn't damage the gate. All right, so people who are out there saying that's BS. The gate was not damaged by the protesters. The protesters walked right through the open gate to the private way, which was a private road. The protesters then entered this roadway, and these people feared for their property. They didn't know what was going to go on, so they came outside with their guns. And unfortunately, in Missouri, in St. Louis, they are allowed, under what they call as the castle doctrine, they are allowed to protect their property. But I've had a lot of people in my inbox condemning the actions of these people. Legal gun owners are in my inbox. Tom McGinty was on my page. He's a legal gun owner. He was calling them idiots. He lashed out at these people too. So one of the things I was actually going for my license to carry before COVID-19, one of the things that was pointed out to me, when you look at the wife, her finger is on the trigger of the gun. And somebody said, if you're a legal gun owner, that is 100% something you should never, ever do unless you're planning to shoot. Because unfortunately, if that gun was to accidentally go off and she accidentally shot one of those protesters, all bets would have been off. Now she wouldn't have been in the wrong. She would have possibly been brought up on charges because she's not supposed to have her finger on the trigger and stuff like that. So a lot of legal gun owners are coming at the McCloskeys. They're coming at them. They're saying that they were in the wrong, even though that the law says that they have the right, they were wrong in how they went about it. So it's very interesting. Again, this is the misconception thing again. I felt the husband was a bitch in this situation. Because I'm being nice right now. The pictures here is when they were on. So when you come out their property, they have like a foyer, like a balcony area. And it was him and his wife were on there standing. And as the protesters were going by, she got mad. She actually left and went down and actually onto the grass on the lawn. And she was actually confronting these protesters. Oh, what's up, Tom McGinty's actually here now. He's like, just for this. He got the wink on his face. And I just mentioned you, Tom, about saying how, you came down on these two. And to be honest, I got a lot of people who are legal gun owners who are condemning them, even though that they were legally within their rights. Like you said, just because you got your right, there's no need to be an asshole. And that came right from Tom McGinty. He says, there's a thing about responsibility. And again, her finger was on the trigger. A lot of people said that's a no-no. But I said to someone who was out here, Tim Urcab, he judged me. He misconcepted and judged me and said, oh, they should have put this and this and this. And I said, well, why don't you come listen to the show and find out why I'm calling the husband a bitch? The reason why I'm calling the husband a bitch is because later on in this whole situation, the wife left the foyer there, and she was down confronting these protesters with her gun while he stayed on the foyer the entire time. And I felt like, damn, who wears the pants in this family? This dude's a bitch. Like, even in that situation, you don't let your wife go down and confront protesters with her gun. You tell her to stay her ass on the foyer and let you go down. You go down and you handle the protesters that might be coming. Because she's got a little friggin' handgun in her hand. He's got the automatic rifle. So who's going to do more damage? Who's going to scare the protesters more? Because her going down there and confronting the protesters didn't scare really anybody, because they're counting and saying she's got like 6, maybe 9 shots. And there's 100 protesters there. He's got a friggin' automatic semi-rifle. Looks like an AR-15, maybe an M16, maybe an AR-15. He's mowing people down. If I'm a protester, I'm like, yo, I'm not messing with hot lead. Nah. He got a lot of clips right there. So I'm rolling. And I felt like he was a bitch, because he allowed his wife to go down and confront the protesters. That was my point. So Tim Urcab, if you listen to this, that's why I called him a bitch. But again, like I said, they were under castle doctrine. They have every right to protect their property, but not as that way. And as I said, a lot of gun owners, I applaud you. A lot of gun owners coming out here, Tom McGinty, people in my inbox, schooling me, teaching me, because I was unaware. I was like, okay, it's legal. Boom, they're good. It's a private way. And for those who don't understand what I mean about a private way, so like Othello Street in Brockton is a private way. It's not paved. Why? Because those residents on that street, they actually own the roads. So that means the city doesn't do anything for it. The state doesn't do anything for it. Those residents maintain that road. They secure that road. That's a private way. And the street that these people lived on was a private way. So unfortunately for these protesters, they were trespassing when they entered that street. When they went through the gate and entered the street, they were instantly trespassing. So again, misconception. And that's what I wanted to get into. I wanted to let people know that. Also, Trump actually tweeted this about these people and then found out that these people actually support Black Lives Matter. They actually support the BLM movement. They're totally against what happened to George Floyd. They just was scared and worried about their property, of course, because they've seen all this bull crap on TV. But Trump quickly tweeted about them and then had to pull the tweet back. I don't know why he pulled the tweet back. Maybe did he pull the tweet back because they're in support of BLM? I don't know. But Trump twice in 1 weekend has had to pull tweets back. And he tweeted out this white power thing down in Florida. And he had to pull that back. If you didn't hear about that, the Villages Retirement Community had a Trump rally and they were chanting white power. And Trump tweeted it and called them great people. And then Tim Scott, I believe, a senator, had to reach out to him and say, "Hey, man, you need to take that tweet down. That's not right. To be honest, everything that I said last week about Trump is what Scott said to him in regards to you represent the country and you just allow that to go. Again, there's really no excuse. People are out there saying, well, he tweeted it wrong and didn't. No, he's the president. Watch your shit before tweeting it out, man. That's why people feel the way they feel about you. And do that. Tom McGinty said, watch the whole video. He's a target shooter at best. Had no idea how to handle that weapon. See, this is the stuff I'm talking about. Licensed gun owners know shit. Even though we look at it, we're sitting here, we're laughing, we're all breaking it down, but we don't know shit about it. Tom McGinty is a gun owner. He's shot guns. He's got experience. He's a business owner. And he's saying it. He says he's a target shooter at best. Had no idea how to handle that weapon. He said, license to carry, Castle Doctrine does not give you the right to shoot someone for walking on your lawn. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. That is great information. And like I said, I know the guy Pierre Solomon, who's training us through license to carry class. I'm pretty sure he would have heard me say this and he would have probably ripped me apart and said, no, you don't know, man. This is wrong. He would have probably explained all of the reasons why it was wrong to me. So, Tom, thank you very much for letting us know that. And I think that's about it. Let's see here. I actually have to give a couple of shout outs before we get out of here. And then I have a request to show a trailer for a movie again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my shout outs and then I'm going to give you guys this trailer and I'll explain the trailer and set this all up because we got to get out of here. We went a little bit, we actually didn't get over because we had some issues at the beginning of the show and then we came on a little bit late. Tom McGinty said, don't men rant, but that shit just pisses me off. Nah, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. Miss you much. Big shout out to Brian LaPrada for the custom cornholes that he made for me. I'm sure you guys had seen them in the pictures that I posted. Great stuff from Brian LaPrada. If you want to reach out to me, he's on my Facebook page. And I was happy. He actually made some more with LED lights, and I was like, damn, I need to take that back, and go that. What's up, Eric Phillips? I see Eric Phillips, one of my guys from Southeastern Regional, 1984 alum. What's going on? Tim O'Connor, DJ Tim O'Connor is watching. Big shout out to him as we get ready to round out this show. Tom McGinty said, you never point the loaded weapon at someone unless you've intended it to be that last thing for them to see. Yep, and I'm pretty sure Pierre would have told me this, the same exact thing. So before we get out of here, I got to give big thanks to Vero G Concert online last Saturday night. Viana Marie performed, did a great job. The interview is on YouTube. The performance is on YouTube. Viana Marie is going to be updating her website with strictly that performance and interview. It was a great time. Hopefully, maybe if we open back up, we might be able to make it down to North Carolina in October. And we're hoping maybe to get on this card down there that they're putting together for a live performance. Also, check out Maddie C's Sports for You and Me podcast. Big shout out to Bobby Streets and Sinbad, One Life, BMG Entertainment, Supreme Entertainment holding it down. Vianna Marie holding it down, got music out there and gaining new fans and stuff. And look, I'm going to be back next week. You guys are really loving the video part of this show. I'm glad that I'm able to get this going like this, the way that I've wanted to. And I apologize. Some weeks we seem to have some issues, and we're still working on it. Like this week, completely out of our control. Facebook, whatever happened with Facebook, don't know. I just know that this may be part of the norm. I might be working on my site and coming right through. But when I got to close out the show and then let SpongeBob take us home, we have a director here, Dana Ragusin. He has produced this movie called Cracker. And before everybody starts going out of their minds and yelling and screaming about the title of the movie is directed and made and comes from the vision of a white man here in Massachusetts. And what it does is it's a great story. It takes a white supremacist who's committing a white supremacist hate crime. He's committing a hate crime against a black person. And what happens is it's a sci-fi spin, and this white supremacist who's committing this crime is transported back into the slavery days. Except there's a strange twist. White people are the slaves. And this is a very interesting trailer. I can't wait. I'm actually working my ass off to try to get this guy on our show. But here's the trailer, and then we're going to have our outro when SpongeBob's going to take you home. So here's the trailer for Cracker.
Hey, how's it going?
Why don't you step out? Take that shit off your head, monkey!
Sure that black monkey would fuck you are!
Fuck your Mother Earth, make sure I get my nut. And if she bleeds gold, they should crown me King Tut. Nat King Cole, King Solomon, these nuts. Patricia fucking oil, you get rich when I bust. Fucking Mother I'm starting to get dizzy. I made that bitch squirt and created the Mississippi River. My nigga took a trip to nigga.
What you looking at, Cracker?
What's your name, Cracker? Michael. What you know, man?
Where I come from, this isn't the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you are, Cracker.
Welcome back. Be cool.
Well, see you next Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to The Booth on Hoobazoo and HatcherRadio.com. Please follow the Facebook page and subscribe to the podcast at Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. The Booth is a Sinister One production hosted by Sinister One.
I've got to start hanging out with friends that are a little more intelligent and understand politics and stuff. It's just that I'm up on this level up here, and all my friends are down here. Me, nah. You guys, nah. Maybe a little more down in here. Screw you guys, I'm going home.
I smoke, I drink, I do my thing. These bitches hating, so you know I got to make it plain. Don't do cocaine with your chick, my main. We stick together, true forever, yeah, you know we bang. I miss those days, which was easy. If only I make it, bitch, don't repeat. Now that I done upgraded, I've been upstate, but y'all think I'm playing. And I got a hit now for these weak assholes who think I ain't slaying. Try me, and I'll probably end up laughing, cause I never back down. I'm that chick with a clean ass whip, I don't need that shit, I got my own now. I get hurt, I get tired of fussing, fighting, guess I gotta crack down. Don't mess with me, cause on everything, I'ma have to bring the whole city out.
WHOOBAZOO, that's Hoobazoo.com.
Enter website.